I have 8 delicious recipes to share that will tantalize just about anybody's taste buds. What is up, you guys? My name is Kira if you are new, and in today's video I have 8 summer recipes for you guys for just about any kind of diet lifestyle. And all of these recipes just scream the summer vibes. They either have a coconut or mango or pineapple or dates. It's literally every kind of summery flavor combination you can possibly think of, and like I said, it is for every kind of diet style. All of these recipes can be tweaked or modified to fit whether or not you're gluten-free or vegan, maybe you're doing keto, or maybe you're a diabetic. Whatever works best for you diet-wise, these are the recipes for you. Or maybe you just want something light and fresh for an upcoming barbecue, like a watermelon cucumber salad with lime and mint. Or maybe you're just into a delicious flavor like a date stuffed with peanut butter that tastes like a Snickers bar, and it's healthy. So come on down to my kitchen with me, and I'm gonna share with you 8 summer recipes that have all those summer vibes. Did you know dates grow on palm trees? Well, these wrinkly but fresh California superfruits have more potassium than one banana. And if you want a good date, then Joolies has the best of the best. So first, let me thank Joolies for sponsoring today's video. Joolies has a bunch of date products on their website, including their whole dates that even have a cool little dispenser where you put your pits that are on the inside. And then they have their pitted dates. And then they also have a wide variety of the date syrup, including their original cocoa flavored and cinnamon. And they also have these really cute little snack packs that you may even want to use for your kids' lunch boxes with back to school coming up. So if you don't know too much about dates, MedJool dates, especially Joolies organic dates, are an excellent source of phytonutrients, which are plant compounds that have health benefits. So studies have shown that dates can stimulate the immune system, reduce inflammation, prevent DNA damage, and even improve hormone regulation. They have a variety of antioxidants, and they are naturally sweet with no added sugar. They also support digestive health by their high fiber content, and these are just a fruit that is all around healthy for you. It even has like a chewy caramel texture, so it's almost like having candy, but not. And I have 4 really delicious recipes using dates that are going to blow your mind. And one of them we're going to share right now. So we are going to make these stuffed bacon wrapped dates. And then with the rest of the bacon, we're going to make a really yummy cream cheese stuffed pepper that I've shared on my channel a few times before. So we're going to start off with one of the boxes of the pitted dates. I have some brown sugar here, some pecans, some cream cheese, and then the bacon. But we only need about 8 or 9 slices of the bacon for that recipe, and then the rest we're going to cook up, and we're going to mix inside of the rest of the cream cheese along with the everything with the bagel seasoning and some green onion, and then we're going to stuff it inside of those peppers. We're going to bake it in the oven, and then we're going to top it with a little bit of tahini. So these are really good things that are high in protein and fiber that you can snack on, and both are super easy to assemble. So these pitted dates come sliced with the pit already out, and all you're going to do is scoop a little bit of the cream cheese. Now these are bigger than they look, and they're definitely hollow, so it takes a good amount to fill the inside. And then you're going to place a pecan in between, close it up. The cream cheese will help keep it together. You're going to wrap a piece of bacon around it, and then you're going to roll it in some brown sugar. I have a piece of parchment paper here on a baking sheet, and I just went ahead and filled and rolled the entire container. So I ended up with 11 of the dates, and then here is the rest of the bacon that we're going to stick in the oven, and we're going to get good and crispy so that we can use it for the next recipe. So here are the dates. They look black, but they're not. They're just a little charred because we had that brown sugar that caramelized, and then our bacon is done, which we'll chop in just a second. So this was pretty simple, you guys. It was $3.75 for 10 minutes. Then I flipped, and then another 8 minutes, and they were done. I will say that these are super delicious and I loved them, but they were a little too sweet for me, believe it or not. The date is so sweet that the brown sugar kind of pushed it over the edge for me. I think maybe next time I would use one of those spicy pecans, or maybe mix a spice into the cream cheese and then eliminate the brown sugar. And I think that would be a perfect balance of sweet and heat. But otherwise, this was definitely a nice recipe that I know I can tweak a little bit. Now, a recipe that allows a tweaking is this recipe. So I took the rest of the bacon and threw it on a cutting board and then just roughly chopped it. And then now I'm going to set up our peppers. So I just get the small little snacking peppers. These ones are from Trader Joe's, but you can get them at any grocery store. And then I just took a wide variety of colors just to jazz up the plate, especially if you're going to use this as an appetizer. And then we're just going to cut them in half and we're going to clean them. So just take all of the seeds out and wash them, get them ready. And then once you have them set and ready to go, we're going to put 4 ounces of softened cream cheese into a bowl with some bacon, some green onion, and then about a tablespoon of the everything but the bagel seasoning. I mean, honestly, you guys could play with that however you want. If you want to eliminate the scallions, or if you want to eliminate the everything but the bagel seasoning and just season it a different way. Your options truly are endless at this stage, but once you have your cream cheese and mixture mixed all together, you're just going to fill your peppers, and then we're going to put them on a baking sheet, and we're going to stick them in the oven at 375 for about 10 to 12 minutes, and you'll see that they get soft and tender, and the heat brings out the sweet of the pepper, and it just goes so well with the green onions and then the saltiness of that seasoning. And then I came back and added that little bit of tahini with that lime, just that sweet and sour. It's just so good. I added a little extra piece of bacon. Again, if you're going to use this as an appetizer, it's just a little bit more aesthetic to the eye. And then I loaded them into a meal prep container, and I'm going to seal this off and throw this in the fridge. And these just taste so good even cold. It's just a great option for snacking as far as I'm concerned, because the cream cheese and the bacon, it's just filling, and I find myself reaching for just a few of them, and then it curbs my appetite. So we have our dates, our peppers, our little leftover bacon that I used for a wrap for my son, and that was it for our first 2 recipes. Now our next recipe is so light and so fresh and literally perfect for the summertime. So I have a half of a seedless watermelon cut up here and cubed. I have 3 to 4 Persian cucumbers cubed with half of the peel still on it. It depends on how big your cucumbers are. And then I have some limes here, 3 of them cut in half. We want to leave them in half because we're going to use a juicer to get the juice out of them. I have a handful of mint, and then I also have the tahini here. You'll start to learn with me that the chili, the lime, all of that is just my favorite flavors for the summertime. So I share a lot of recipes that have those flavors in it. So if you love them, you're in the right spot. But you can see, you guys, that's it for the ingredients. It's a super easy recipe. So the watermelon and the cucumber are going to go into the bowl, and then I have this little lemon lime juicer here. This is linked in my Amazon store below. I've been using this for years. It does such a good job, and we're just going to throw all of our lime halves in there, and we're going to squeeze all the lime juice into that bowl with the cucumber and the watermelon. And then we're going to dice up our mint, and we're going to throw in the good handful. Maya said it was a little too minty. I thought she would love this with me, and I figured she'd be the only one, but she said it was a little too minty for me. This was like a watermelon mojito, non-alcoholic in a bowl. Like, it was just So good. I went and took that tahini and sprinkled it on top, and then I just couldn't stop eating it. I put it in this little bowl to present it to you guys, but I feel like you could pour some rum over that and it would be amazing, or just chilled out of the fridge. This was such a light and refreshing summer salad. Like, this would be a great twist to a barbecue or any kind of event that you guys are having if you're just looking for something, like I said, super light and super fresh. All right, this is not light and fresh, but this, you guys, is gonna blow your mind. So I have some Trader Joe's honey roasted peanuts here, a 1/4 cup that I diced up, and then I have some organic dark chocolate chips right here. I have the box of pitted Julie's dates. I have some organic coconut oil here that we're going to use to mix into the chocolate to make it good and smooth and creamy for when we dunk these things, and some peanut butter. And you guys, are making Snicker dates. They're dates that are going to taste like a Snickers. I promise you, this was mind-blowing to me. So I put a little parchment paper down on my countertop, and then I filled the pitted dates with some peanut butter. Then I took a little pinch of the honey roasted peanuts. I stuck them on the inside and I squeezed it together, and then I put it down on the parchment paper. And I went ahead and continued until all of them were done. Again, a little time consuming to kind of fill all of them together and a little messy, but these, you guys, were so worth it. So once you're done with this, then we're going to go ahead and melt that chocolate, and then we're going to cover them. So let's go ahead and fill them, and then we'll get to the next step. So a 1/4 cup of dark chocolate chips and 1 teaspoon of coconut oil into a bowl, and then 1 minute in the microwave. And when it comes out, you're going to stir it, and look how shiny and pretty and glossy that coconut oil made those dark chocolate chips. So now we're going to take a toothpick, and you're going to go ahead and put your date with your peanut butter and your nuts into that bowl full of chocolate, and then use a spoon to spoon it over. And then I just used another toothpick to get it off of that toothpick, sprinkled a little bit more peanuts on top, and then repeat over and over again. So I think this entire process probably took me about 25-30 minutes to do all of it, which sometimes could be a lot to put together something that looks as small as these. But once we're all done with this, we're going to go ahead and throw it in the fridge. I slid my parchment paper onto a little platter, and then I stuck it into the fridge for the chocolate to get hard. And then, you guys, when these came out, my mind was literally blown, because I bit into it thinking there's just no way that this is going to taste like a Snickers bar. I just couldn't fathom the concept, because unless you're eating a peanut butter Snickers bars don't have peanut butter in them. So I just didn't understand how these combination of flavors was going to create a Snickers bar. So I saved a small one for myself. I put the rest on the platter, and I dug in. And I know it looks a little messy. It's chalk on my fingers. I know it's probably not the prettiest looking picture, but just imagine biting into a Snickers bar, because that's exactly what it was. It had the chewy consistency and the nuts and the chocolate, and even though there was like a small coconut undertone, not enough to change that this was a Snickers bar. Like, these were amazing, and I will continue to make these over and over again. Out of the park recipe. So speaking of out of the park recipe, this is definitely one of them, and I've shared a derivative of this recipe on my channel a while back, and I actually shared it when I was away on summer vacation, and we used it as a fish topping when we caught fresh fish right out in the sea, and we used this salsa as a topping, and then we put the fish right on the barbecue grill, and it was fantastic. So I have 2 mangoes here, a pineapple, a half of a red onion, 2 tomatoes, some of those red and yellow peppers like the ones that we stuffed, 1 jalapeno, some limes, some cilantro, and then I have some concentrated pineapple juice here. I really wanted fresh pineapple juice, but there just wasn't enough in that pineapple, so I'm kind of glad that I had this on hand in my freezer. But this is almost a dump and go recipe, you guys. Very similar to that watermelon cucumber salad. You're just gonna dump all of those fruits and veggies into a bowl. We're going to take our lime juice and we're going to squeeze that all over our fruit. I put in about a half a cup of that concentrated pineapple juice, but if you're using regular pineapple juice, a cup would work. And then I put in a nice rough handful of that cilantro. And then we're just going to go ahead and mix that all together. And very similar to that watermelon cucumber salad again, the longer that it sits and it marinates and it soaks and it grabs all of that, the better that it gets. But this, you guys, is so good. I really wanted to find like those Stacy's cinnamon and sugar like pita chips to share this recipe with you guys, because it's good with that, but it's good with tortilla chips, it's good on chicken, it's just good in so many different ways, and it's so fresh and so delicious. Perfect for summer. This recipe is not necessarily perfect for summer, but I think you guys are going to love it for your kids for back to school. So I have vanilla here, some pecans. These are the whole dates, so we're going to have to go ahead and pull the pits out, but I'll show you guys how to do that. I have some coconut oil here, and then I have some unsweetened original almond milk. I will say that if I do this recipe ever again, I'm going to switch things up a little bit, and I'm going to do the sweetened vanilla milk. I was trying to see how sweet this recipe was going to be, and it just needed just a little bit of something extra. But I also have a bag of quick oats here. We're going to need 2 cups of that, and then 3 bananas. It says 3 ripe bananas in the recipe. These were as ripe as I can get them before I needed to use them. So if you don't have like super ripe bananas, then go ahead and throw them in the bowl and then do what I'm about to do. And I'm using a potato masher, and I just used that for a good couple of minutes, and then it really just opened everything up and kind of gave me a good mushy consistency. Obviously, the riper, the better. But once it's all mushed up, then I left that off to the side, because now we're supposed to add in a cup of diced dates. Now, as you noticed, no sugar in this recipe. That's why I said I was going to change up the almond milk next time, because this is your sugar component. They are so sweet that this is pretty much all the sweetness that you're going to get, besides how sweet your bananas are. And if they were riper, then they would have been sweeter, but because they weren't, that's where I lost a little bit of that sugar content. So like I said, maybe next time the sweetened vanilla with more ripe bananas would do the trick. But we're going to dump in the cup of dates, the 2 cups of oats, a 1/4 cup of the almond milk, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, a 1/3 cup of melted coconut oil, and then we're just going to stir it all together. And then once it's reached like a good consistency, we're going to throw down some parchment paper onto a baking sheet, and then now it's time to put our cookies down. These don't spread, so pretty much what they look like on the pan is what they're going to look like when they bake up. I did use an ice cream scoop. I love this for pancakes, for cookies, for everything. It just allows me to have even distribution, I guess, and control over what I'm putting in the pan. And then once you have your cookies laid out, you're going to top it with a pecan. Just push it down so that it sticks on the inside. I did need 2 pans because, like I said, they're not going to spread and they're thick cookies. So I want to be able to have room to have them all. And then voila, you guys, this was the cookies, and they looked so good that I couldn't wait to bite into them. I love a warm cookie, and I love a good oat cookie, and I could tell that these were going to be oat but moist, and they were so good that if I just could have increased that sugar content by just a tiny bit, these would have been out of the park. Maybe next time adding a little bit of chocolate chips, that'll change it a little bit. But I froze them, and I'm going to be bringing them to the lake to share with my friends. I'm so excited to share this recipe with you guys. These are Bloody Mary shrimp skewers. Okay, mind-blowing experience with these, because you can do this so many different ways. You can do this in an alcoholic version. You can do it in a non-alcoholic version. You can just add bacon. You can do green olives, which is what I should have done instead of the black ones, but I knew it was going to be the only one who ate them, so I just ate my favorite. So I put the black olives, but I put celery out and tomatoes and pepperoncinis and the sweet pickles, and then the big colossal shrimp. And then I mentioned I love my chili lime, and this is the chili lime seasoning from Trader Joe's that we're going to season on the shrimp with a little bit of butter and parsley, and we are going to put it on a skewer, and then we are going to make a Bloody Mary dipping sauce to dip everything in. I promise you, you will not be disappointed, but we need the shrimp cooked and cold. So I put a tablespoon of butter into a saucepan, and with shrimp, you need to watch them because they will get rubbery very quick. They need 1 to 2 minutes on each side, and as soon as you see them pink and opaque, you need to pull them. So I usually give it like a minute or two. I flip, and then less time on the second side than you gave it the first time. So as soon as I flip, I gave a little sprinkle of the chili lime, the parsley, a little toss, and then that's it. We're done now, and they're pulled off. And these colossal shrimp were wow. So I put them in a bowl, and I put them in the fridge, and I let them cool. I went on and cooked another recipe, and then once they were cooled off, I just made skewers. And skewers are fun, you guys. There's no rhyme or reason to them. You can put as many of anything that you want on top of it, but it's just a fun way to hold a whole bunch of things that you're eating together at one time. Like, I love kebabs on the grill. I love to do these with different kinds of desserts for parties. It's just fun, and it's a fun way to hold it. And it would be really cool if you wanted to serve a real Bloody Mary and you wanted to put that on the side, or if you just want to do this dipping sauce. So you need some peeled tomatoes, some Worcestershire sauce, you know I can never say that, some lemon juice, some hot sauce. Down there I have some horseradish sauce. I thought I had horseradish in the refrigerator, but when my refrigerator broke, I must have thrown out my good boar's head horseradish. So I sent Daryl to the store, and he got me horseradish sauce, which is really not the same thing. It's like mayo that has horseradish in it. So this probably would have been so much better if I had fresh horseradish. So if you have fresh horseradish, I would prefer you use that. And then vodka, which is optional, but your kids can still dunk in this if you want to. The vodka is so minuscule that your kids wouldn't feel it, but it's just going to give that little flavor in the back of your throat that makes it taste more like a Bloody Mary. But we're going to add all those components to the blender, and we're going to blend it up, and then I'm going to pour it in one of those nifty little serving glasses again, and we'll throw a little celery leaf in the top just for looks. But you guys, like I said, these were so good. The ideas are just endless. I really needed like good quality applewood bacon, like the thick cut and a nice piece on the end, because that's like a new thing that people do where they add that, maybe even a jalapeno, a wedge of lime. Like, these, you guys, were so good and perfect for summer, perfect to leave in the fridge to just grab something yummy to pick on. Absolutely dynamite, like another knock out of the park recipe. And now I have one more to share with you. So for our very last recipe, we are making Samoa Bars, and we're going to make them with dates. You guys, there's no sugar again in this recipe. So if you're looking for recipes that have 0 sugar in them besides the dates, like, this is the recipe for you. So I have almond flour, I have coconut flour, I have coconut oil, I have vanilla, I have some shredded coconut. I have another box of the ones with the pits in them, so I'll have to take the pits out. And then I have some maple syrup here, and then a little bit more of the dark chocolate chips. So we're gonna make a cookie layer for the bottom, then we're going to make a sticky Samoa layer, and then we're going to drizzle chocolate. So first, let's make that cookie layer. So we're going to put in 1 cup of almond flour, a 1/4 cup of coconut flour, a 1/3 of a cup of coconut oil, and then 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then you're going to go ahead and stir that together. And then I put a piece of parchment paper over a loaf pan, and I poured our cookie mixture into that parchment paper. And then it took me a good 5 minutes to manipulate this the best that I could so that there was no like crinkles crinkles in the parchment paper, and it was as flat as possible to give us a good cookie layer. And we're going to stick that in a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And now we need 1 cup of dates, and you can see that cool little hole in the back where you get to dispose of your little pits. And we're going to cover now this cup of dates with water because they want it to soak for at least 10 to 15 minutes. So while that soaks, I have a sheet pan here with 1.5 cups of shredded coconut that we're going to throw in the broiler and get it good and toasty. And then our cookie is done, so we're going to let that sit and cool while our coconut is toasting. And look at that, like you could smell toasted coconut in the air. It was just so yummy and such a tropical vibe feeling. And our dates were soaking, so once they were done, I threw the dates in the blender with 1/2 cup of peanut butter and then 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and then we're going to go ahead and stir that up. Now it said to use a food processor, but I had my blender out, so I decided just to use that. But it's so thick that you have to add a little bit of water, so I ended up using about 1/3 of a cup of water to manipulate it to get it to this creamy texture. And then I dumped that into a bowl and added in our toasted coconut so that we can fold that in. And when you tasted it at this point right now, it had that complete Samoa flavor in your mouth. But you know, Samoa still has a little bit more of a cookie, which we've just baked. So now you're going to put that mixture onto that cookie and stick it in the freezer. And I did that for like 2 hours, and then I was able to lift it right out and I let it sit. And now I'm going to melt our 1/4 cup of chocolate chips and 1 teaspoon of coconut oil, just like we did last time. I even used the same bowl. 1 minute in the microwave is perfect timing. And then we're going to cut our little Samoa bars into wedges. We're going to dunk the bottom in that chocolate and then put it on parchment paper on a sheet pan. And then once we've dunked the bottom of all of our little wedges, I'm going to take the spoon and then just come back and drizzle over the top. You know how a Samoa has like the drizzles on the top. And then we're going to stick these back in the freezer for like another 20 minutes until the chocolate gets cold. But holy cow, you guys, it is so amazing what you can do with dates. Like, I've been really impressed. I never would have thought I would have been able to pull together recipes like those Snickers or this Samoa bar. Like, this knocked it the biggest. This was the home run, grand slam, forget knocking it out of the park. Like, this one was the best by far, and I was really blown away. It really was a lot of fun to play with these recipes and be able to see exactly how you can manipulate all these different ingredients to make some of the most incredible flavors. And in the description box will also be the links to all of these recipes. All right, you guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. If you're interested in joolies and all those delicious date products that they have, especially if you're working on a low sugar diet, make sure to check that link down below in the description box. And again, thank you to joolies for sponsoring today's video. I love you guys all so much. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.